I'm back! Oh. Hello, folks, and welcome to 69 Steps in Front of the St. John River, the Woolastook, as you may. And this is another episode of YATR. I'm Markus Harvey. Before we go any further, please feel free to hit like and subscribe down below. And hopefully I will be a little bit better at this and can get you some more content moving forward. Let me know what you think as we do go forward. Today's episode is brought to you by Bruichladdich, Port Charlotte SC01 Special Edition. It is a sherried Islay single malt Scotch whiskey. And if I was to describe it, I'd say let's hearken over to Scotland, and you've got a lassie there who's roasting a lamb over an open fire. Her rotund bagpipe-playing husband comes along with a full handle of sherry. Let's say he drinks that down and then he passes his kilt. She takes the kilt from him, wrings it out into a bottle, digs up the ashes underneath that roasting lamb on the open fire, puts the bottle in there, leaves it for a couple of days. Then she takes it out, distills it, and then comes up with the final product that would be absolutely nothing like this. This is honestly a really fine single malt whiskey. As I said, it was made by Bruichladdich, distilled by Bruichladdich on the island of Islay. It is a peaty, delicious, sherry, but infused, finished in Sauterne wine casks, glorious whiskey. Get yours today. It is available here in Fredericton, $130 a bottle. Today's episode of YATR, once again, by Bruichladdich, Port Charlotte, SC01. METH. I can't believe it's taking me this long to do an episode on METH. It's a scourge that's sweeping the nation. It's already here in Fredericton, as I'm sure many of you know. But for those of you who need to be caught up, METH is called methamphetamine. It comes in a crystal form, little rocks, usually white, sometimes blue, smoked in a pipe, as you see in the picture here. And it affects the brain, dopamine in the brain, the central nervous system, gets you high. And amongst other things, there's three main things you need to know about meth if you're not already aware. One, it's really cheap. It's about $5 a point. $5 a high, $5 a hit, however you want to call it. Two, it's extremely hard to overdose on. And three, it's one of those chase drugs. So once you've had meth for the first time, you're never going to get that euphoria or that high again. So you're chasing the next high, and you need to use more, and you need to use more frequently. And that turns you into someone who doesn't give a f***, or someone that I like to call a meth zombie. Meth zombies. Here we've got a picture that my cousin took of a couple of meth zombies that crawled out of the woods out in Noonan here a few months ago. And I'll try to explain this to you. If you can look at the picture, I know it's a little grainy, but you'll notice that in the picture, these two meth zombies that crawled out of the woods are wearing no shoes. And they're also, one, the young fella there is not, upstanding young citizen, is not wearing any pants. Methamphetamine, when you're on it, from what I've told, heats you up quite a bit. So even though this photo was taken, I believe, late October, November of last year, when it's fairly cold out, these two are so cooked out on meth that they're actually wearing no shoes and the young fellow's wearing no pants. When you are a meth zombie, what happens is you don't care about anything except getting that next fix, that next point of meth. So we're having that problem here in our area, and I said it's countrywide. And what's happening is people are stealing. They're stealing vehicles. They're breaking into sheds. They're doing home invasions. There's guns involved. There's gas stations getting hit, and it's all in perpetuity. It never ends. And a lot of folks say, well, how come the RCMP isn't doing anything about this? And that's where I'm going to get to my next point, and that is Bill C-75. Back in 2018, the Liberals, shocker, brought in Bill C-75, or the soft on crime bill, as some people call it. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of good things in it. And if you care to Google it, go ahead, Bill C-75. It's long. There's a lot of stuff to go through there. But if I was to boil it down to you in regards to how it hampers dealing with meth and meth crime in our area, there's a little provision in there. Like I said, I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially what it says is our jails are too full, and unless somebody is caught and they are going to commit a crime that's going to cause bodily harm or murder or something like that, you can't remand them. You can't hold them in jail. So for friends of mine, and I have quite a few of them, who have had their vehicles stolen or possessions stolen, this is where the problem lies. The RCMP catch the person driving your vehicle, and even though that vehicle is worth well over $5,000 and this person should be put in jail for stealing it, they aren't, because of the provisions that are in Bill C-75. So I just wanted to address that first, because a lot of people are saying, why aren't the RCMP, why aren't the police doing anything? It's because their hands are tied. They are doing it. They're taking them into jail. They're getting processed. These people, these meth zombies, are getting, arrested, put in jail. They're given a court date for 3, 4, 5 months down the road, released immediately. And as a meth zombie, you don't care. You get out of the jail, you walk right straight out, and your next thought is, where am I going to steal the next truck? Where am I going to steal the next bunch of tools from a carpenter, electrician, plumber, so that I can pawn them off? When's the next time I'm going to climb a telephone pole and steal copper wire or rip the lightning rods off a church to get a little bit of money for my meth? And that's the issue that we're having. Bill C-75 tying the RCMP's hands, the police tying their hands as well, so that it's just, like I said, it's a revolving door. Nobody's being thrown in jail. They're just going. I had one guy, RCMP officer I know, just to give you a quick example, because I don't want to drag these episodes on as long as they have been in the past. He had arrested a guy that was on meth. He took him in. He said, listen, you've got to remand this guy. You've got to put him in jail. Sending him down to St. John isn't the best option, obviously, but it's better than being out on the streets. Nope. We're going to give him a court date for 4 months down the road. We got to let him go. That RCMP officer, between the time that he arrested him the first time and when his court date was supposed to be, had gone back and arrested that guy 16 more times. So as a taxpayer in Canada, you want to think about that. You want to think about the money that's spent keeping this revolving door of meth zombies going in and out of the system. It's something that needs to be revised, and it needs to be revised on a federal level. Bill C-75, like I said, it was brought in by the Liberals. In our area right now, we've got an MP who's a Liberal. Feel free to call her up and say, listen, how's about you stop carbon taxing us to death, trying to paint all the sidewalks with rainbows, and take away our hunting guns, and actually do some substantive change? And that would be an amendment to Bill C-75. There's many things you can do. One of them would be to put a little bit more power in the hands of the RCMP when they arrest these people and allow them to remand them. And secondly, I think it would be a good idea to have some sort of correctional facilities to put these folks in that you can help them. Not just put them in jail where things don't seem to get better, and that seems to be the problem that brought about Bill C-75, or that part of it anyway. Put people in jail, but give them access to rehab, give them access to other correctional groups, benefits, and solutions, so that when they come back out into society, they have a shot to be a functional and valued member of society instead of a meth zombie going through a revolving door. And while we're on the topic of incarceration for these meth zombies, in our area here in Fredericton, we've got a little bit of a pickle going on where the government wants to put a new correctional facility in the industrial park here in Fredericton, and there's a little pushback from the folks in the Lincoln Heights area. Just to kind of recap real quick once again, what I think we need to do to deal with this meth wave that's coming across the country, and don't be fooled, folks, it's not going to get any better before it gets worse. There's a few things that need to be done. Like I said, there needs to be amendments made to Bill C-75 to give the RCMP, to give policing more power to incarcerate these folks when they're caught, instead of putting them through that revolving door. But in order to do that, you need to have correctional facilities that are applicable, that are set up for these people to help them out, not just to jail them. Because that, as we know from history, isn't going to solve the problem. So for the folks that don't want the jail over there, my understanding from speaking to my MLA in the area is it's not going to be just a jail. It's actually going to be a correctional facility. So within those walls, yes, there's going to be people incarcerated, but there's also going to be programs and platforms and groups and rehab available for folks, like I said once before, which is needed to help these folks. It's not going to fix everybody. It's not going to deal with mental health issues, although they may have some help for that in there as well too. But the goal is to, if you can save 1 in 10 of them and get them out into society as a functioning normal human again, and bring them back from that zombie state, that's what's going to happen, and it's going to help stem the tide of this until we can get it under control. Another thing that I forgot to throw in earlier is punishment. You're a little too soft on these folks. I think that if you are somebody who is cooking or distributing meth, public hanging is fine with me. If you're a low-level dealer, cut your hands off if you're caught. People that are on meth, they're the ones that need the help. They're the ones that need to be saved from themselves, incarcerated, but into a correctional facility where they can get help. And for the folks that don't want this new jail built here in the Fredericton area, I'd ask you this. How did you enjoy a month or so ago going for 2 or 3 days without power or internet? That was meth heads stealing the wires. Down here in Sheffield, they went for days without phone service. Meth heads stealing the wires. And those would be meth heads that had been repeat offenders that had gone through this revolving door. Now, I'm kind of pushing for this jail to happen, and I know there's people that are watching this now that are going, well, if you want the jail, put it over there in Majorville where you're from. Hey, absolutely. I'd be all for it. We've got a spot up the road from me here where a guy put, it must have been at least $1 million worth of fill in there. Built it up. He was going to put condos or an old age retirement living building or apartments or something like that. Listen, perfect area. Bring the jail on over here. Rezone it. Listen, two weeks a year, good chance it's going to be like Alcatraz because it'll be surrounded by water. But otherwise, we'll take the jobs. We'll take them if it's going to help stem the tide of this meth wave of zombies that's coming across the country. Just my 2 cents. Listen, if you have your own 2 cents, if you have any comments, if you like the content, if you don't like the content, if you don't like looking at me, let me know and we'll work on it. Just hit the comments below, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Come back again. We'll cover another topic, a controversial topic in the future, I'm sure. But for right now, thanks for watching this episode of YATR. I'm going to finish off this beautiful Isla Brooklady Port Charlotte whiskey, slip on into the house and warm myself up by the fire with the dog. Cheers.